The dismissal. The San Francisco fog rolled in from the bay, shrouding the glass towers of the financial district in a pearly haze. On the 42nd floor of the Mercer Technologies building, Yelena Novak adjusted her blazer nervously as she stepped off the elevator. At 28, she had worked as Vincent Mercer's executive assistant for 3 years, slowly climbing from reception to become his right hand. The morning sickness had been brutal today. Yelena placed a protective hand over her still flat stomach, breathing deeply. At 12 weeks pregnant, she hadn't told anyone at work yet, especially not Vincent. Single and alone in a city where she had few friends, Yelena had been gathering courage to share her news and discuss how to adjust her role during her pregnancy. "Miss Novak, Mr. Mercer would like to see you immediately." Dominic, the head of security, stood by her desk with an uncharacteristically stern expression. Yelena's heart rate quickened. "Of course. Is everything okay?" Dominic didn't answer, simply escorting her to Vincent's corner office, where floor-to-ceiling windows normally showcased a panoramic view of the bay. Today, the fog rendered the glass opaque, creating an unsettling, isolated atmosphere. Vincent Mercer stood with his back to the door, a silhouette against the white mist. At 36, he had built Mercer Technologies from a garage startup to a billion-dollar company. Brilliant, charismatic, and notoriously demanding, he inspired both fear and admiration throughout the industry. "Close the door," Vincent said without turning around. Yelena complied, her mouth suddenly dry. Something was very wrong. When Vincent finally faced her, his normally warm brown eyes were cold. "How long did you think you could get away with it?" "I'm sorry," Yelena's voice faltered. "I don't understand." "Don't play innocent." Vincent tossed a folder onto his desk. "We have proof you've been selling our prototype designs to Helios Industries." The accusation hit her like a physical blow. "What? That's impossible. I would never—" "Save it." Vincent's voice was ice. "Your access card was used to enter the secure server room at 2:13 a.m. last night. Files were copied containing our entire quantum encryption protocol, the cornerstone of our upcoming security platform. An hour later, $50,000 was wired to an offshore account in your name." Yelena's mind raced, her thoughts spinning in confused circles. "Vincent, please, there's been a mistake. I was home all night. I couldn't." "The evidence is conclusive." Vincent gestured to Dominic, who produced a tablet showing security footage. There, in grainy black and white, was a figure using an access card at the server room door. "That's not me," Yelena protested. "You can't even see the person's face." "The system logged your card, Yelena." Vincent's tone had shifted from anger to disappointment, which somehow hurt even more. "We trusted you. I trusted you." "Someone must have stolen my card or cloned it. Please, Vincent, after 3 years, you know me." Vincent shook his head. "I thought I did. Maybe this explains your recent doctor's appointments and late arrivals, setting up your betrayal?" Yelena's hand instinctively moved to her stomach. This couldn't be happening, not now. "Those were legitimate. I've been—" She stopped herself. This wasn't how she had planned to tell him. "What? You've been what?" Vincent prompted coldly. "I'm pregnant," she whispered, the words falling into the tense silence like stones. Vincent's expression flickered for just a moment before hardening again. "Convenient timing. Is this supposed to make me feel sympathy, maybe even part of your plan, thinking I wouldn't fire a pregnant woman?" Yelena's shock gave way to anger. "How dare you? I've given everything to this company. Nights, weekends, holidays. I've sacrificed my personal life to help build your vision. And now you've sacrificed your reputation for what? Money? Revenge?" Vincent circled his desk, towering over her. "I promoted you from nothing. I trusted you with company secrets, brought you into my inner circle. Was that not enough, or was this your plan all along?" "Vincent, please," Yelena begged, tears threatening. "I'm innocent. I would never betray you. You have to believe me." Collect your personal items, he said flatly. Dominic will escort you out of the building. Your final check will be mailed, minus any damages we determine you've caused the company. You're making a terrible mistake, Yelena said, her voice breaking. I'm innocent, and someday you'll realize that. Vincent turned away, staring back into the fog. I already made a mistake, trusting you. Legal will be in touch about possible criminal charges. As Dominic led her to her desk, Yelena moved mechanically, placing family photos and a few personal items into a cardboard box. Her colleagues watched in uncomfortable silence, already privy to the rumors spreading through office messaging channels. Jada, a marketing coordinator and one of the few people Yelena considered a friend, approached cautiously. What happened? She whispered. I'm framed by Vincent, but he won't listen. That's insane. Everyone knows how loyal you are to him. Apparently, not everyone. Yelena glanced towards Prissa Sharma's office. The TTO had never hidden her resentment of Yelena's close working relationship with Vincent. But would she go this far? Dominic cleared his throat. Miss Novak, we need to proceed. As Yelena walked through the open-plan office, clutching her box of belongings, she held her head high despite the stares and whispers. The elevator ride was excruciating, 24 floors of silence beside Dominic, who had always been friendly until today. In the lobby, he confiscated her access card and employee badge. I'm sorry it ended this way, he said quietly, a hint of humanity breaking through his professional demeanor. So am I, Yelena replied. But I didn't do this, Dominic. Someone set me up. He hesitated before responding. Between us, something doesn't add up. The person on the camera was taller than you, even on the grainy footage, but Mr. Mercer wouldn't listen when I mentioned it. A flicker of hope ignited in Yelena. Then you believe me? I didn't say that, Dominic replied carefully, but I've worked security long enough to know when things don't make sense. Outside, the fog had turned to rain. Yelena stood under the building's awning, balancing her box in one arm while fumbling for her phone with the other. Her mind churned with the impossible situation. Pregnant, jobless, accused of a crime she didn't commit, and with a ruined reputation that would make finding new employment nearly impossible. As she waited for her rideshare, Yelena spotted Vincent exiting the building with Prissa Sharma. They walked to his waiting luxury car, deep in conversation, neither noticing Yelena standing just 20 feet away. In that moment, watching them, something hardened inside Yelena. The devastation and confusion crystallized into resolve. She had spent years helping Vincent build his empire, sacrificing her own ambitions in devotion to his vision. Now she would need to redirect that dedication to herself and her unborn child. I won't disappear, she whispered, one hand on her stomach. This isn't the end of my story. As Vincent's car pulled away, Yelena made a silent promise to her unborn child and to herself. She would rebuild, she would rise again, and someday Vincent Mercer would regret the day he had dismissed her so carelessly. 2 days later, Yelena sat in her small apartment surrounded by job listings and unanswered applications. Her phone rang. An unknown number. Yelena Novak speaking. This is Gregory Torres, legal counsel for Mercer Technologies. The voice was clipped, professional. I'm calling regarding the termination of your employment. Yelena steeled herself. Are you filing charges against me for something I didn't do? Actually, he paused, I'm calling to inform you that Mercer Technologies won't be pursuing legal action. You'll receive your final paycheck and 2 months of severance provided you sign a non-disclosure agreement. The sudden reversal stunned Yelena. Why the change? I'm not at liberty to discuss details. The severance is contingent on your silence about company matters and this unfortunate situation. After hanging up, Yelena sat in contemplative silence. Something had changed at Mercer Technologies. Perhaps someone had discovered evidence of her innocence. But the damage was already done. Her reputation remained tarnished and her career in shambles. That evening, as rain drummed against her windows, Yelena made a decision. She would leave San Francisco and start fresh elsewhere. Opening her laptop, she navigated to the website for Princeton's prestigious Accelerated Graduate Program in Technological Innovation. "Time to create our own path," she whispered to her unborn child as she began the application. 6 weeks later, Yelena Novak boarded a plane heading east, carrying everything she owned in 2 suitcases and the life she was creating within her. Vincent Mercer had taken her job, her reputation, and her security, but he couldn't take her determination or her future. Someday, she promised herself, their paths would cross again, and next time, she would be the one in control.
The Ascension. 5 years passed like water flowing through Elena's determined hands. Constant movement, occasional turbulence, but always forward progress. Princeton had accepted her into their accelerated program, impressed by her industry experience and glowing recommendation from Jada, who would quit Mercer Technologies shortly after Elena's departure. Now, at 33, Dr. Elena Novak stood in her laboratory at Quantum Shield, the startup she had founded 2 years ago. Surrounding her were holographic displays of the revolutionary security protocol she had developed, a quantum encryption method that was mathematically unbreakable even against theoretical quantum computers. "Mom, look!" 4-year-old Oliver tugged at her lab coat, pointing proudly at his tablet where he had completed a coding puzzle designed for children twice his age. Elena smiled, crouching to his level. With his dark curls and serious eyes, Oliver was her perfect counterbalance, her reminder that life existed beyond algorithms and investor meetings. "That's incredible, Ollie. You solved the entire sequence." She hugged him tightly, breathing in the scent of his shampoo. "You're going to be even smarter than your mom someday." "Ms. Rosario says I'm already the smartest in preschool," he replied, matter-of-factly. She's probably right. Elena checked her watch. "Ready for dinner with Auntie Jada? I have to finish these simulations before tomorrow's demonstration." As if on cue, Jada appeared at the lab doorway. After following Elena to the East Coast, she had become both Quantum Shield's marketing director and Oliver's honorary aunt. "There's my favorite genius in training." Jada swooped in to scoop up Oliver, who giggled as she spun him around. "We're getting pizza and ice cream while your mom saves the digital world." After they left, Elena returned to her work, losing herself in the elegant mathematics of her creation. What had begun as her doctoral thesis had evolved into something revolutionary, a security protocol that could protect everything from banking systems to national infrastructure against even the most sophisticated attacks. Tomorrow's demonstration for the National Security Technology Conference would be her company's breakthrough moment. 5 years of sacrifices, student loans, and 16-hour workdays were about to pay off. Major tech companies and government agencies would be watching, including, she had learned, Mercer Technologies. The notification had appeared in her inbox 3 days ago. Vincent Mercer would be attending the presentation. His company had been struggling lately. Their much-hyped quantum security platform had proven vulnerable to advanced attacks, sending their stock plummeting. Industry rumors suggested they were desperate for a solution. Elena had spent hours rehearsing her presentation, determined to show not a hint of the turmoil his name still stirred within her. This was business, and she was no longer the vulnerable assistant he had discarded. Her phone chimed with a message from Dr. Marcus Way, her chief technical officer and Princeton mentor, who had believed in her vision enough to leave his tenured position. "Final security checks complete. Everything's locked down for tomorrow. Get some sleep, Elena." Sleep, however, proved elusive. At midnight, Elena found herself on her apartment balcony, staring at the Princeton campus lights. Oliver slept peacefully inside, surrounded by his beloved books and the robot kit she had built him for his last birthday. "We did it, little one. We survived. We built something new." The memory of that rainy day outside Mercer Technologies still visited her occasionally. The humiliation, the fear, the uncertainty of carrying a child alone while fighting to clear a name that had been systematically smeared. Those early months had been a blur of morning sickness, scholarship applications, and late-night studying. When Oliver was born during her first semester, Elena attended virtual lectures from her hospital bed, determined not to fall behind. Classmates had brought her notes and groceries. Professors had granted reasonable accommodations. The community she had built supported her rise from the ashes of her former life. Morning arrived with pale sunlight filtering through autumn leaves. Elena dressed carefully in a charcoal suit, applying minimal makeup that highlighted her clear, confident eyes. The woman in the mirror bore little resemblance to Vincent Mercer's former assistant. This woman carried the authority of accomplishment in every movement. "You look like a superhero, Mom," Oliver announced from her bedroom doorway, still in his space-themed pajamas. "I'm just a scientist, buddy. The real superpower is here." She tapped his forehead gently. "Are you going to make people's computers safe today?" "That's exactly what I'm going to do." After dropping Oliver at preschool with an extra-long hug, Elena arrived at the conference center where her team was already preparing. The vast auditorium would soon fill with hundreds of the industry's most influential figures. "Nervous?" Jada asked, adjusting Elena's microphone pack. "Oddly, no," Elena replied truthfully. "This feels like the moment everything has been building towards." Dr. Wei approached with a tablet. "The simulation is loaded and ready. And Elena," he lowered his voice, "Mercer just arrived with his executive team. They're in the front row." Elena nodded calmly. "Thank you, Marcus. Let's give them something to remember." The lights dimmed precisely at 10 a.m. Elena stepped onto the stage to polite applause, her heels clicking confidently across the polished surface. The spotlight caught her as she stood before the massive screen, illuminating her against the Quantum Shield logo. "Good morning," she began, her voice steady. 5 years ago, experts declared that truly secure quantum encryption was at least a decade away. Today, I'm going to show you why they were wrong." From her position at center stage, Elena could see Vincent Mercer clearly. The same commanding presence, though new lines marked his face. Beside him sat Prisha Sharma, now his COO according to industry news. They watched with carefully neutral expressions as Elena launched into her presentation. For 40 minutes, she explained the breakthrough that made Quantum Shield's technology possible, without revealing the proprietary elements, of course. She demonstrated attacks that had crippled existing systems, including Mercer Technologies' flagship product, then showed how her protocol neutralized them completely. What makes our approach unique is that we don't just patch vulnerabilities, we've reconceptualized digital security from first principles. The mathematical foundation makes it theoretically impossible to breach, even with quantum computing capabilities that don't yet exist. As she spoke, Elena noticed Vincent leaning forward, his expression shifting from professional interest to unmistakable recognition. Their eyes met briefly, his widening slightly, before he whispered something to Prisha, who quickly pulled out her phone. Elena continued without missing a beat. "We've already secured contracts with 3 major banking institutions and are in final discussions with 2 government agencies. But today, we are announcing that Quantum Shield will also be licensing our technology to selected partners in the private sector." The announcement sent a ripple through the audience. Licensing meant companies like Mercer Technologies could potentially integrate her solution rather than starting from scratch, a lifeline for those facing security failures. After fielding technical questions, Elena concluded to enthusiastic applause. As attendees networked during the break, Elena noticed Vincent making his way towards her, his expression unreadable. "Dr. Novak," he said formally, extending his hand. "An impressive presentation." Elena accepted the handshake with cool professionalism. "Mr. Mercer, thank you for attending." "I didn't realize you had moved into security development," he said, studying her face. "Your solution is remarkable." "People are often capable of more than others give them credit for," she replied evenly. Vincent shifted uncomfortably. "About what happened 5 years ago." "This isn't the venue for that discussion," Elena interrupted, gesturing to the crowded room.
If you're interested in licensing possibilities, my team would be happy to schedule a meeting with your technical staff. Before he could respond, Jada appeared at Elena's side. Sorry to interrupt, but the NSA representatives are waiting for our private demonstration, Dr. Novak. Elena nodded professionally. If you'll excuse me, Mr. Mercer. As she walked away, Elena felt Vincent's gaze following her. For years, she had imagined this moment, confronting the man who had so casually destroyed her life. Now that it had arrived, she found that revenge wasn't what motivated her anymore. Success was its own vindication. The remainder of the conference passed in a whirlwind of meetings, demonstrations, and negotiations. By evening, Quantum Shield had fielded preliminary inquiries from 17 companies and 4 government agencies. The industry buzz was undeniable. Elena Novak had become the new face of quantum security overnight. That evening, as Elena tucked Oliver into bed, her phone chimed with an email notification. The sender, Vincent Mercer. It read, Subject, Urgent Meeting. Request, Tomorrow. Elena set the phone aside, focusing instead on her son's bedtime story. Vincent Mercer had once made her wait for hours outside his office. Now, he could wait until she was ready to hear whatever he had to say. The following morning, Elena arrived at Quantum Shield's headquarters to find her team gathered around monitors displaying news coverage of their presentation. We're officially the industry darlings, Jada announced. Stocks,
The Reckoning. The Global Innovation Summit transformed the Ritz-Carlton into a glittering showcase of tech power. Elena Novak, now CEO of the highly successful Quantum Shield, attended with 6-year-old Oliver. After 2 years of professional distance, she found herself seated near Vincent Mercer, whose company was struggling without access to her revolutionary security technology. Dr. Novak. Vincent approached her during the reception, his eyes shifting to Oliver with a flash of recognition. After polite introductions, Vincent requested a private conversation. Elena neither accepted nor rejected as they separated for the awards dinner. When Vincent mysteriously disappeared before receiving his Legacy Innovation Award, Elena received a text after accepting her own Technology Pioneer Award. Rooftop garden. Please, it's important. V. On the rooftop, Vincent handed her a USB drive. This contains evidence of Prisha's deception and my resignation as CEO, with my recommendation that Quantum Shield acquire Mercer Technologies. Why would I want a failing company? Elena asked, though already calculating the strategic advantages. Because you're smarter than I am. And because, Oliver, he has my eyes. Elena tensed. Oliver is my son. I would never claim otherwise, Vincent assured her. Seeing him tonight made everything clear. While I've preserved my ego, you've built something remarkable, both professionally and personally. 2 months later, Elena addressed the newly merged Quantum Mercer staff as CEO. Vincent had accepted a non-voting advisory role, while Prisha had been exposed for her corporate espionage. That evening, Oliver looked up from his homework. Is Mr. Mercer my dad? Yes, Elena answered truthfully, but he hasn't been part of our lives. Can I meet him? Really meet him? Elena texted Vincent later. Oliver has questions. If you're interested in being introduced properly, we should talk. His immediate response, name the time and place. Thank you for this opportunity. New beginnings. 6 months into the merger, Quantum Mercer had become a dominant force in digital security. Elena skillfully integrated the companies, retaining Vincent's institutional knowledge while maintaining clear boundaries. Oliver's first official meeting with Vincent took place at a neutral location, the Princeton Botanical Gardens. Elena watched carefully as her son bombarded Vincent with questions about engineering and computers. You built a company like Mom did? Oliver asked, his curiosity insatiable. I did, Vincent answered, but your mom built something better. The monthly meetings continued, carefully structured.
Vincent never overstepped, understanding that earning a place in Oliver's life required patience and Elena's trust. Meanwhile, the business thrived. When a critical vulnerability was discovered in global banking systems, Quantum Mercer's solutions saved billions, cementing Elena's reputation as a visionary leader. During a late board meeting, Vincent approached Elena. "I never imagined this outcome when I sent you away 7 years ago." "Neither did I, but sometimes being forced to change course leads to better destinations." As they worked together, an unexpected respect developed. Vincent's experience complemented Elena's innovation, creating a partnership neither had anticipated. At Oliver's 7th birthday, Vincent arrived with a carefully chosen gift, a telescope, remembering Oliver's fascination with astronomy from their conversations. "Thank you for allowing me to know him," Vincent told Elena privately. "He deserves to understand where he comes from," she replied. "But remember, I'm still the parent." "I would never claim otherwise," Vincent assured her. As guests departed, Elena watched Oliver explaining constellations to Vincent. The past couldn't be rewritten, but perhaps the future held possibilities neither had dared to imagine. Full circle. 2 years later, Quantum Mercer had revolutionized digital security globally. Elena's leadership style, brilliant but compassionate, had created a corporate culture unlike any in Silicon Valley. Oliver, now 9, had developed a comfortable relationship with Vincent, who respected the boundaries Elena established while providing a male perspective she valued for her son's development. When Elena received the prestigious Global Technology Leadership Award, she invited both Vincent and Oliver to accompany her to the ceremony. "Are you sure?" Vincent asked, surprised by the gesture. "Oliver wants you there," Elena explained, "and we've come too far to keep living in the shadow of the past." At the ceremony, Elena's speech acknowledged her journey. Success isn't measured by victories alone, but by our ability to transform failures into opportunities and resentment into wisdom. Afterward, a photographer captured the 3 of them together, not quite a traditional family, but connected by something meaningful nonetheless. That late summer, when Oliver's school project required interviewing a tech entrepreneur, he proudly presented profiles of both his mother and Vincent, explaining how different approaches to innovation could complement each other. "You've raised an extraordinary son," Vincent told Elena as they watched Oliver's presentation. "He has good examples of both what to do and what not to do," she replied with a small smile. At a charity gala marking Quantum Mercer's 3rd anniversary, Elena found herself sharing a quiet moment with Vincent on a terrace overlooking the city. "If you could go back and change what happened, would you?" Vincent asked. Elena considered the question. "No. Everything that happened led me here, to Oliver, to Quantum Shield, to becoming who I needed to be." "Even the part where I was a complete fool?" Vincent asked ruefully. "Especially that part," Elena laughed. "It forced me to stop waiting for someone else to determine my worth." As they returned inside, Elena reflected on life's unexpected symmetry. The woman who had once been dismissed as insignificant now led one of the world's most powerful companies, with her former boss serving as her advisor. The assistant had become the CEO, the wronged party had become the success story, and somewhere along the way, healing had become possible. Not through forgetting the past, but by transforming it into something neither of them could have imagined on that rainy day 7 years ago when she had stood alone outside Mercer Technologies, determined that her story wasn't over. She had been right. It was just beginning.